Up next is the newspaper cartoon of the day.
A program was held in Ginigathena yesterday to create awareness about the Divinaguma Bill.
An event was held yesterday to create awareness on the Divinaguma Joint Rural Bill and the local government polling system among SLFP Balamandala members in the Muskelia electorate. The event was held under the auspices of Minister Susil Premajayantha. There was a request from the Samudra development officials to make them state sector employees. The Samudra becomes a department under the Divinaguma Bill. Then the 28,000 Samudra officials will receive the benefits provided to state sector employees, including the pension scheme.
To a country such as Sri Lanka, which is centered around agriculture, water is an important necessity. Over the past few days, we spoke about the need to conserve this valuable resource. It is the farmer who knows fully well the importance of conserving water.
In order for a farmer to be able to successfully cultivate his crops over a number of seasons, he needs to have sufficient water. While some people speak of water conservation during times of severe drought, these same people do not speak of this when water is plentiful. The farming community believes that the time has come to focus our attention towards conserving our ancient irrigation techniques and protecting our heritage when it comes to structures such as tanks and reservoirs. At times our crops die when they are about to shoot due to the lack of water. This farmland spans across 108 acres. If a tank could be built on one end of it using about 10 acres from the farmers, water can be retained and this will greatly help farming activity. In 1984, they set up the Irrigation and Water Management Division and worked with farmers and farm organizations. However, now these organizations have become obsolete. There are no officials or workers. So isn't the time ripe to take steps in this regard?
We are unique, we are reservoir-based irrigation. And so ours is very distinctive and very special. We had evolved our own rules and regulations. So we have to, very little we can borrow from outside.
What are the obstacles impeding the introduction of new irrigation systems to meet the changing weather patterns of the day? We have found it difficult to provide proper training for the officials. The universities do not offer the required training. As a result, we have to train our own officials. However, over the past few years, we have been able to train people more effectively. With new units being established, we have been able to train and utilize more engineers and technicians.
Up next is Action TV, where once again the focus is on the precious resource water.
While the majority of waterways in the Mahaweli zones were constructed with the use of concrete under the Accelerated Development Program, the war became a barrier to the completion of this process in the 503 sub-irrigation sector in the Mahaweli B zone. With the establishment of civil administration in the eastern province, a project was commenced to construct waterways in the sub-irrigation sector using concrete and to reconstruct the other waterways in the B zone also using concrete. While the project was titled the Mahaweli Upgrade Project, the Asian Development Bank provided financial assistance for this project to the tune of 2.8 billion rupees. The Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority has been charged with the responsibility of completing this project by the end of this year. While 1.6 billion rupees of this 2.8 billion rupee allocation had been released as of last May, there is a lack of clarity as to whether the balance amount of money will be released. Against this backdrop, it is doubtful as to whether paddy cultivation can take place in the future in the 503 sub-irrigation sector and the Mahaweli B zone. This is because not even half the work that was promised through the upgrade has been completed. The They started it off but did not finish it. They have now extended the time frame. I think it is very unfortunate because if they had followed the schedule properly, then they could have completed work by the end of this year. Farmers say that due to the Mahaweli authorities' lethargic approach in the first phase of the project, resulting in them having to do a majority of the work in the latter stages, the quality of construction has also been affected. The collapse of a waterway wall in Vijayagampura in the 503 sub-irrigation sector is an example of this. Estimates show that about 600 bags of cement would have been used for its construction. The supervising officials must take complete responsibility for this. It is because of their failures that national resources and the wealth of this nation is being lost. Won't the failure to complete the reconstruction of these waterways, even after the time frame for the upgrade project has been extended and the balance funds have been released, leave thousands of agrarian families to despair? Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources Management, this one is over to you.
Shami Rasuldeen will be joining us on our special segment Road to the White House. But now, taking a look back at one of our top stories, the steps that are to be taken with regard to the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice, Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike, has drawn the attention of many. We sought expert opinion on this.
The impeachment motion against Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike was submitted to the Speaker last Thursday with the signatures of 117 parliamentarians.
It's the duty of the Speaker to first examine whether there are a sufficient number of signatures of MPs, that is 1/3, and also whether there are sufficient particulars given comprehensively relating to charges, and if so, his next step would be to appoint a select committee in terms of the standing orders, namely there should be at least 7 members, and he would be appointing the chairman, and he would orderly, according to convention, have a discussion with the party chiefs as to who their respective nominees would be. Thereupon, the burden will shift on to the select committee to hold the inquiry.
Senior lawyer Gomin Dayasri points out that while the select committee should consist of no less than 7 members, a chairman must be appointed to the committee by the Speaker. He says that the select committee will have the ability to call for evidence and testimony and obtain expert assistance if required. He added that the judge facing the impeachment motion can also seek legal support. Subsequently, the select committee recommendation must be tabled in Parliament.
The select committee report is out and sent to Parliament. There is a period of 1 month. I think that month has been set aside so that the accused officer, if he desires, could resign from the position, and thereupon the Parliament will have to debate on it, a full comprehensive debate, and thereupon vote on the matter. And finally, on that vote, if there is the required number, as I said previously, it will be sent to the President, who will then decide as to the punishment that should be enforced. But primarily, I would tend to think he would follow the dictates of the Parliament decision, and of course he could minimize quantify and minimize the punishment that is going to be imposed.
There have been 2 previous occasions on which impeachment motions have been brought against Chief Justices in this country. During the presidency of J.R. Jayawardena in September 1984, an impeachment motion was brought against the then Chief Justice Neville Samarkand on the charge of criticizing the government at a night school prize giving. Although an impeachment motion was brought by the opposition against then Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva, this motion could not proceed any further.
Neville Samarkand had an inquiry. He was represented by eminent lawyers. I think the finding was that there was no misbehavior, but there was certain wrongs committed by the accused concerned, but he resigned so that eventually it did not go to the vote. As far as Sarath Silva's matter is concerned, it never went into select committees because I believe on 2 occasions that was a motion that was promoted by the opposition, but it had the required number of votes, and it came during the period of President Kumaranatunga, but my recollection is that she prorogued Parliament so that it went off the order paper and nothing materialized finally.
Retired Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva says that the people have lost everything as a result of corruption.
Sarath N. Silva expressed this view at a public rally in Ruanwalla, in which former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca also participated. People are unable to feed themselves. Although you have come here, look at how much sadness you endure at home. People are unable to maintain a roof above their heads, educate their children or buy them clothes, purchase medicine or a vehicle when absolutely necessary. Corruption accounts for 40% of losses. We are paying so many taxes because of the money lost to corruption. This is why our expenses are increasing and unemployment is increasing. It all comes down to corruption.
In business news tonight, Minister of Petroleum Industries Susil Premajayantha says that the Sapugaskanda oil refinery is ready to resume operations. He stated that stocks of crude oil have already arrived in Colombo.
The refinery came to a halt on the 25th of last month owing to the lack of crude oil. Minister Susil Premajayantha stated that unloading of crude oil commenced today.
I have been informed that they have commenced unloading oil. They will commence operating the refinery parallel to this. Now we have adequate stocks until January. Shipments have been scheduled.
However, Sepetco trade unions allege that the corporation has incurred massive losses due to not importing crude oil stocks in time.
We should clearly say that the refinery was halted because they did not import the Iranian light, which we could have imported through bilateral ties. It has been confirmed today. A large sum of foreign exchange has been spent to import crude oil while incurring losses to the country. The most important thing is that oil was never brought for the refinery from the world market. It was brought using bilateral ties. This stock of oil has been brought from the same company which supplied substandard petrol on the 16th of June 2011. It is a complete lie. We have not imported oil from a blacklisted company. Tenders were called according to the laid down procedure.